We have an Anglo-Saxon silver strap end, not a very common find, nevertheless there have been quite a few found. They usually have zoomorphic design on them. Here we have a Celtic Iron Age razor. If you can just imagine, the Celts used to actually shave their whiskers and that with that. It's quite a rare find, that. This is a representative example of most detector finds. Anybody that does metal detecting will tell you that 95% of their finds are based on this kind of item.
I've done this for 35 years, but I've never found the gold head yet. My best coin I found a fortnight ago were 1696 William III sixpence.
This is a Bronze Age flat axis. I think it's dated around about 2200 BC, and it was found up in Cumbria, and recorded it at Preston Museum with the finds liaison officer there. So
I think it's a Henry VII sovereign penny, or a Henry VIII sovereign penny.
This was when she was coming, Queen Elizabeth I was coming to the end of her reign, and they didn't like her very much, and so what they did, they defaced the dies so that they couldn't see a full portrait of her face.
Yeah.
it might be one of them sovereign pennies.
Yeah. That jet and right.
With so much land to go at, one thing is for sure: the more research you put into your sites, the more you are likely to find, and there are lots of tools to help you do just that.
For those people who want to take it a bit further and research their own sites, there's plenty of resources out there. Online there's internet forums, experts can answer questions. There's also old maps online. Equally there's also old maps in the archives and so on, so you can go in and research.
Examine aerial photographs and look for hidden footpaths and settlements that have vanished. Telltale signs can be found as shadows and shaded areas within the crops. Your local library is as good a place as any to start.
I'll go on the internet, look at aerial photographs, see if I can see any marks in the ground or any signs that there's been life there before, or paths. I also study the history books, see if I can find old paths and bridle ways. What I also do is I look between churches, because people must have travelled from local churches between one church and another. There would have been a path. Even if it doesn't exist today, there could have been one in the past. So I tend to work between churches a lot.
I do a bit of research. What I try to do is I try to go to the local library, use the reference books in the local library, and also the internet, which is very helpful to try and find a little bit about the area, the history of the area.
Old maps, go on the internet, see if you can find out like if there's anything interesting, been in the area before, just general things like that. Aerial photography at different times of year, on on the same field maybe, that you can see circles where there's definitely been something there. There's supposed to be a lost village in the village I was brought up at, Thurcroft, near Rotherham. It's only a small mining village, but outside the village, close to Mortham, which is a very old village, there was supposed to be a lost village there, what they call a lost village. And on one set of aerial photography I got, when I printed it out, I found a series of circles where they say in this field there was a lost village. So they could be roundhouses. They definitely could be roundhouses. They're the right size, they're all in a row, and what looks like paths.
Yeah, although England is littered with castles, all these are scheduled sites. You've got no chance of getting on here. But what you're looking for is evidence of past occupation. So where do you start? You can get the aerial photographs. You're looking for crop marks. In this part of Norfolk, during the Roman occupation, it was the tide was actually 5 foot higher. This place here, although it's inland now, was actually a port. It's bigger than the big port of King's Lynn back in medieval times. So if the tide was that high, a lot of ground was underwater. So you look for high spots. The Romans recognised this. South-facing hills near a stream. In actual fact, the Romans used to park themselves right by the waterside. But the Saxons, in actual fact, were one field back. They used to leave the first field as water meadows because the actual water table became higher. The Celts were even higher. They were on the high ground. They had to see the natural enemies. The same as this castle here is stuck right up on high, and you can see miles and miles around. Obviously with a vantage point this high, this has been used. Although you've got the castle and it's Norman, this in actual fact was a Roman site. So you've had occupation throughout the ages. You're going to get the traffic coming through. You're going to have the churches. You're going to have commerce with a big place like this. The castle that size, that had to support the local economy. When I'm driving out the car, I'm forever looking around at the fields. Well, obviously noticing whether the crops are coming off. You get the right light on a cornfield and you can actually see the crop marks at a certain time of day. Normally it's late afternoon. You get the crops off and I'm looking at the fields. You get a slope on a field. If you get a slight levelling out and then coming down again, chances are if I'm on that field, I will hit that area first. That's what I'm looking for. Indentations. When I get on the field, I'm looking for, well, I will be hearing nails. I'm looking for pottery. I'm looking for oyster shells. This is a sure sign of habitation. Once you've found this pottery and the nail and the naily areas, then you can go to town. Otherwise, really, it is potluck. You're going across a field, you don't know what's on there, and one field looks the same as another. It is very important that you do this field walking first. It saves, you think it might waste time, but it actually saves time in the long run.
If you are lucky enough to live by the sea, then you might be interested in beach detecting. Thousands of detectorists already search the beaches all over the country, some of them actually making a living out of it.
Most of the machines that you buy will work on the beach, on the dry sand. But the problem lies when you move on to the wet sand, you encounter what's called black sand mineralisation. And you've also got the conductive element of the salt. A single frequency has problems with this. This is why most of the detectorists will use a multi-frequency machine to get through the mineralisation and the conductivity, which the single frequency machines cannot really cope with.
Most of your finds will be items lost by modern holidaymakers, such as coins, jewellery and watches.
Today I'm using two machines. They're both from the same manufacturer stable. One I'll be using on the dry sand. This is a single frequency machine. It also has the ability of having a notch control, which can notch out the ring pulls, pull tabs. But be aware, by notching out these, you will also run the risk of losing 50p's and 20p's. It is entirely up to you. Amount of ring pulls, do you accept them in the hope of finding, or do you get fed up with them very quickly? So then you'll notch them out.